all those years. Just like the guy who found the pearl that he was searching for a long time. So how do we discover Jesus in our own lives? May different. But that's how our commitment to Him begins. Is by discovering Him. And once we discover who Jesus is, and once we discover how important He is, then we can't really begin to commit to Him until we realize how valuable. So we discover who Jesus is, then we realize how valuable He is, right? We realize how valuable He is. Look in verse 46 again. The merchant saw great value in the pearl. See, the merchant saw something in that pearl that nobody else had seen. Or else they would have bought it, right? He saw something of great value in that pearl. And when he found it, he sold all that he had and he bought it. How many people today see great value in Jesus? How many people today see great value in coming to church and being connected to a church body as being a regular part of our lives? How many people today see enough value in Jesus or with the relationship in Jesus Christ that they're willing to totally commit to Him and to His will and to His way? Again, total commitment begins when we discover who Jesus is, but then when we realize how valuable He is and how valuable a relationship with Him is. And this goes beyond just praying when we want something, when we want to be healed, when we want direction, or when we want comfort. This goes beyond coming to church only when our schedule allows it. Only when we have enough time to get out of bed and get to Grandma's house, for lunch or whatever it is. This goes beyond reading our Bibles or having a devotion time only when we don't decide to sleep in, but only when we have enough time at the end of the day, to get a couple of verses in. It goes beyond tithing or giving to the church only when we see in the report that the church needs it, or only when we get that bonus, or only when we get that raise, or only if we have enough money at the end of the month to scrounge up a couple of dollars to put into the plate. See, whatever we see ourselves spending our time on, whatever we see ourselves spending our energy on, and yes, whatever we see ourselves spending our money on, that's where our commitments lie in life. That's where our commitments lie in our life. That's what we're placing value on. Whatever we're spending our time, our energies, and our resources on. And again, that's going to vary between all of us. See, I don't think a lot of people today see great value in Jesus. Because if they did see that great value, they would do anything they could to commit more to Him, to get as much of a deep relationship with Him as possible. And when we don't place great value on Jesus, notice I'm saying we, I'm not saying you, okay, we're all together in this, right? Whenever we don't place as great a value on Jesus, that means we're placing greater value on other things. And that other things are taking the place of Jesus in our lives. And other things are getting our attention, our time, our efforts, and our energies. See, too often we value other things in life besides Jesus. And when we do that, our relationship with Him suffers. And we distance ourselves from Christ. And then, when the valleys come in our lives, whenever the bad times come in our lives, and we feel far away from God, we begin to say, well, God, where are you? God, why are you so far away from me? Why are you so distant? Why don't I feel you close to me? It's not because God left, right? It's because who left? We did. We're the one who distances ourselves from God. God doesn't leave us. He never leaves us or forsake us, right? It's in there. We're the ones who leave. We're the ones who forsake Him. He doesn't do it to us. It's because we And when we think about in the realm, like I said with the kids, of eternity, all the things that we put above Christ are going to be gone one day. They're going to be gone. Jim read to us just a little bit ago, Proverbs 23, verse 5. Cast but a glance at riches, and they are gone, for they will surely sprout wings like an eagle. I believe you can substitute the word riches, cast but a glance at riches, and you can put any number of things in place of riches. Anything we put above our relationship with Christ, one day is going to sprout wings like an eagle and fly away. Right? It's going to fly away. Also in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verses 10 through 11, it says, I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all of my toil. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done, and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. One more verse, Ecclesiastes 2:18. I hated all the things I had toiled for under the sun, because I must leave them to the one who comes after me. And who knows whether that person will be wise or foolish. Yet they will have control over all the fruit of my toil, into which I have poured my effort and skill under the sun. This, too, is meaningless. All of these things that we work for and toil for and save for in our lives eventually are going to go away and become meaningless. That's why in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus says, do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasure in where? Heaven, where moth and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So my question to all of us here today is where are we putting our treasures today? What treasures are we seeking in our lives today? Is it a treasure that's eventually going to sprout wings like an eagle and fly away? Or is it a treasure that's going to be waiting for us one day in heaven? Now, I've got to say that there's nothing wrong with success in this life. There's nothing wrong with being profitable in this life. There's nothing wrong with having nice things in this life. I know this is one of those, teeter-totter subjects that we don't really like to address in church a lot. But if the goals and the aspirations to obtain more and to get bigger and to get better, if those goals and aspirations overtake our relationship with Jesus Christ, then we have an issue that needs to be addressed in our lives. If the goal of getting more and getting bigger and all that kind of stuff overtakes our relationship with Jesus, that's where I believe the issue needs to be addressed. So what's your relationship to Jesus worth this morning? How valuable is your relationship with Christ this morning? There's nobody else who died for us, right? We can get eternal life. Nobody else did that for us. There's nobody else in this world who believes in you more than Jesus Christ. There's nobody else who loves you more in this life than Jesus Christ. There's nobody else who will take you just as you are at face value, no questions asked, except for Jesus Christ. So what's that worth to you today? What is that worth to you today? What are you doing in your life today? What are you doing in your life today that shows Jesus how committed you are to Him and your relationship with Him? What are you doing in your life that shows Jesus how much you appreciate all that He's done for you throughout your life? Now, all of us can look at our lives and we can point out the negative things, right? We all have negative things in our lives that we'd like to be better, that we wish didn't happen to us. But focus on the positives. Think of how many things you have right now, at this very moment, treasure are you seeking? Where are you storing your treasure? Are you willing to be like the two men who discovered the treasure and who who found the treasure and who discovered the pearl? See, one more thing. We touched on it earlier, but one final thing. Again, when these two guys found their treasure, when he found the treasure in the field, when he found the pearl that was for sale, again, they joyfully sacrificed to obtain it. And I don't even know if I use the word sacrifice, but it really wasn't a sacrifice to them, was it? They joyfully did everything that they had to do to gain their treasure. Joyfully, they did. They didn't grumble. They didn't complain. They didn't view it as a sacrifice because they knew what they were losing wasn't nearly as valuable as what they were gaining, right? They knew that what they were losing was not nearly as valuable as what they were gaining. So are you willing to joyfully do today all you can do to obtain the treasure that is a true and authentic relationship with Jesus Christ? Now, I'm not suggesting that we need to go and sell all of our possessions, okay, and give to the poor. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm talking about what we need to do in our lives to show Jesus, to show Him that we're committed to Him and that we want our relationship to be more deeply rooted than what it is right now. If you're willing to do that this morning, and if you're willing to make that commitment for the first time in your life, or maybe you made that commitment earlier in your life, and maybe you kind of backslid some, and you want to rekindle that commitment, I invite you to come to the altar this morning and to pray about it. Just take that first step to either discover or rediscover who Jesus Christ is and how valuable He is to your life and in your life this morning. We're going to sing this morning hymn number 130. God will take care of you. If you want to come up here this morning, if you want to pray about your relationship and your commitment level to Christ, I invite you to come. If you want to pray for someone else or for another situation or another issue in your life, whatever your need is, come up here this morning and lay it at the altar of Christ and pour your heart out this morning. Let's stand. Let's sing hymn 130. God will take care of you. copy of those. Also, if you did not get a copy of the book or you want to take a copy home to somebody, the books that we'll be following are in the back of the church. Again, everything that's in the book, I mean, I've read the book, but everything that's in the book I'm not going to be saying up here. I mean, when I do stuff like this, I always make it my own, you know what I mean? So I can't cover everything in the book. But it's a really good book, and I think it would really help us all to kind of be on the same wavelength, you know what I mean, as we go through these next several weeks in these sermons that we're going to be doing. So they're in the back, and I got more in the choir room as well. If you want to please make a copy, we can bring them out as well. Let's sing our final hymn, hymn 555, Forward Through the Ages. On Saturday, the blue sheet on the back table, if you wouldn't care to sign up for something and help us have a good, successful dinner on Saturday evening at 5 o'clock. Let's have our benediction. Say it together. The righteous gives and does not hold back. Have a great week.